Welcome to day 11 of the 30 Mixed Media Card Challenge. You'll be able to find all the other videos in the description below, the playlist on the screen, on my channel, you'll find them. But today we're going to make this card here. It's something a little bit different, but it's just using supplies you'll have at home. Don't worry, let's get started.
All I'm using is a square of card. Now mine is 8 inches by 8 inches, but you can do any size you like. All that matters is that it's square. And you're going to fold it in half and then make sure that's a really good crease. Now if you've got a tool for doing that, great. If you haven't, just get yourself a nice plastic ruler and rub it along the crease and it'll just give you a really good fold. Open it up and then fold it the other way. So you're basically splitting it into 4 equal squares, like that. And then what we want to do is we want to score from the centre to one of the corners. Now I'm using a little tool with a ball on the end, but it doesn't matter what you use, just something to score it. The back of your scissors will be just fine. And then do the same to another square next to it. So you can see how I'm doing that, just one next to the other. And then the straight line between those 2 score marks, you're going to cut to the centre. Just like that. And now, when you overlap those, it'll form that cube card. And what we're going to do is fold along those score lines to the back. The easiest way is to turn it over and then fold the triangle. And again, the trusty ruler's back. And we're just going to make sure those are well and truly folded. You want it to be easy to fold along that line. So when we turn it back over, we can overlap them and make that cube. But before we do that, we're just going to stick those 2 sides together. So I'm using double-sided tape. You can use glue, it really doesn't matter. There's no hard and fixed rules, you know, you use what you've got available. I quite like the double-sided tape, it holds well and of course it's super quick. You just do it and it's done. I'm putting 3 strips on, just being overcautious probably, but I just want it stuck down well, I don't want any surprises. And then the difficult bit of actually getting the protective paper off before I can stick it down. Yeah, I hate the protective paper on the back of double-sided tape. I like the tape, but then fold it over so that they overlap perfectly and stick it down. Because we want those folds that we made to line up perfectly. Something stuck to my fingers. And then we can fold it up inside the card. So you can see how your card will look from the outside and the inside. So what we've done now is made the structure. Let's make it pretty. So here is where you can get really creative, but I'm going to show you what I've done that you can then embellish. I've just picked some squares of paper. You can see I've got this little pad, but you can cut them from larger squares, obviously. And I'm just choosing 2 that I think will go together, and I'm going to put them on those squares in the card. So these are going on the back to form the backdrop of the card. And again, you can stick those on however you like. I think I'm going to use my glue stick. I can get right to the edge, make sure there's no bits sticking up, and it should hold beautifully. So just cover one with glue, position it. Now, what I should say here is you can make the squares the same size as the card, or you could make them smaller. You could cut the edges with some pinking shears to give a nice edge. Get creative. You could stick 3 or 4 squares on of different sizes. They're your backgrounds. You create them how you want. Just make sure you do stick them on the back, not on the bottom piece, which is of course double thickness. So you can see how that's working. And now we're going to do a piece for the bottom. I think I'm going to choose a lighter, less busy piece. And we're going to stick it down, but this time we're only sticking to half of the base. So be careful. I'm going to put the glue onto the actual card to make sure I only stick half of it down. And then I'll show you why. Because when you close it, it's going to fold like that, and you want it to flick up like that. And it can only do that if you've only stuck half of it down. And then time for some decoration. Now I might use these 2 circles, I might only use one of them, we'll see. But I'm just going to put a smaller circle on, and I'm going to use foam pads to do it. Now here, the sky's the limit. If you've got some great little cardboard cutouts that you use for cards, they're perfect for putting in here. So whatever your theme, you're just going to stick something that pops up. And as you can see, I'm just building mine just from paper, so I didn't have to have any fancy embellishments. Now make a little tab, and again, mine's 3 inches by 1.5 inches, but that's purely because that's what fits in my card beautifully. Fold it in half, and then you're going to stick half of it to your embellishment and half of it to the base. And this is going to give you that pop-up element. So just get plenty of glue on and glue it to whatever you're going to put there. And then position it where you want. Now a word of caution, just make sure you position it so that it does fit when you fold the card closed. So just have a little bit of a play around and make sure you've got it positioned so that it works when it's open and when it's closed. You can see I'm just having a little look and being careful. You want it to look good, but you also want it to function. And then it should, she says, fit nicely when you try and close the card. So you can see how that looks. And then you can close it just like that. Now when you want that card open, you can have a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? Velcro to hold it down. I haven't, but you can do. Or even a little bit of blue tack. Now I've just chosen another piece of paper to stick on the front, and again I'm just doing it with a glue stick, and this is just to make the front of the card and whatever greeting you might want. But it'll look really pretty when somebody opens it before they get the surprise of the 3D. Again, you can embellish however you like. Get really creative. Once you've got the structure of this card, you can make whatever you want. And I'm going to use one of my greetings that you can get free from my website. Just click the link in the description or on the screen. And there's a whole load of these greetings. I'm sticking it on with these foam pads just to make it a little bit 3D. If you're enjoying this video, could you give it a thumbs up, please, so it spreads to more people. And then everyone will be making these 3D cards. So I'm going to keep mine nice and simple. I'm just putting a simple greeting on the front. But you could do whatever you like. In my opinion, the best thing about this series of cards is that they are all individual and you can make them for any occasion you want. Even though I've done one thing, you can adapt it. So you can see how easy they are to fold up and how cute they are when they're open. So good luck with your card.